Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. All right, everyone, welcome back to the Manly Mission podcast. You're listening to episode 12, and this is your host, Farhan Rana. So, if you're seeing this on YouTube, you can probably see that I'm wearing my jacket and everything. And I intended to make a longer episode. This is probably going to be like max, like maybe 10 minutes or so, because I've got a huge, the rest of my day is packed. But I still wanted to get a video out to you guys because for my poll on Instagram, a lot of you said that you wanted something on mindset. I didn't clarify. I didn't like expand on what I meant by mindset. So I'll just interpret it in one of many ways, and then hopefully you guys can get some benefit out of it. And as always, if you're looking for something in terms of like a workout plan, you can go to my website at farhanrana.com/workout. You'll get like a 7-day workout plan, and you can just start right there to get started on that. All right, so I have some points in my head, so I'll try to make them as clear as possible so that they're the most useful and actionable to you guys. That's my whole point with every single one of my videos, is to provide something which is of use to you, and not just like you listening to me just talk about something that's like mildly interesting. So the topic I had in mind was, or like the message I want to convey to you guys is, you need to believe in yourself. Now you're probably just like, okay, like I knew that. Why are you telling me that? No, you really need to understand that like self-belief and just having that sense of like, okay, like I can actually do the things that I plan to do in my life. That's such a huge, huge concept. There's this saying in the self-development / business space where 80% of your success, no matter if it's like material or like you're trying to put out something in the world in terms of like a good cause, or just like you developing yourself into a better person, 80% of that is mindset. Now, when I heard that for the first time, I was like, okay, I get it. You're supposed to be like, hopeful and positive about what you're going to do. Obviously, you're not going to do it. But I've just realized just from this one thing of like doing a podcast, there's so much negative self-talk and self-doubt and just limiting self-beliefs that go into a lot of this, which is just like, if you don't have a good sense of control over them, you're just not gonna. If you get started, you're just gonna stop at some point, or you might not even get started, which is like the saddest thing. There's this saying, and I think it rings true, is that graveyards aren't like places where like people who passed away lie. It's like the place where there's untapped dreams and untapped potential. It's just there. It's just like no one can extract that out of those people because. And I wholeheartedly believe this. There's like so much potential in all of us that even if we realized and actualized even like 20% of what we can actually do, like this world would be a so much better place in terms of like more positive people, people doing the things that they're really passionate about, and there would be so much more unless like this like activity and sense of like feeling alive that a lot of people would have. But I think a lot of forces, a lot of things around us kind of deteriorate that over time, and it's insidious in the sense that you don't notice it happening, and you accept some things in your life as like, okay, they're just part of life. Everyone does them, so it's not too big of a deal. But it's just like that kind of slow motion kind of decay that's happening in terms of your mindset. So that's the first thing I want to say, is that the first thing you need to understand is that mindset is a huge, huge thing in whatever you decide to do. When you think about, obviously the most physical, like the most tangible example I can give you is in terms of like your own fitness. If you decide this is your day one of like, okay, I'm gonna get fit. You just have that idea in your head for some reason. You're just like, okay, I'm gonna make some progress in this area of my life. And you decide to go to the gym. You get like a gym membership. The guy, he's showing you around the gym. He's showing you how the machines work and everything. And you're just like, crap. Like I could never be like that guy like who's like squatting 500 pounds or whatever. I can't be that guy who has like 100 pounds of like just pure muscle on his body, and he's just like shredded to the bone basically. I can never look like that. I'm just like a skinny fat guy who's not done much in terms of sports. I've just been kind of lazy. I've just been haven't really kept good track of my diet. I just eat whatever is at home, or just like snacks, and it's just like sugary stuff. And I just live life. I just get by on a day-to-day basis. So I haven't really made much progress in this area. And if you give up at that point, just this very first obstacle. And I do mean it in that sense. It is an obstacle. I mean, as much as it is inspiring to see people who've succeeded, it's also in a sense it's a double-edged sword, because you can look at that and be like, I can't do that, or I can't even realize half of what these people have done. This is what I'm saying. This is so important to realize, that mindset is such a huge thing. And let me just tell you guys, like, what hampers this, what gets in the way of having this, like, yeah, I can do it, I can, this kind of go-getter mentality. What gets in the way of that? A lot of the times it's just this sense of like, you're projecting your past failures, in whatever endeavor, onto your present and future. I think that's been true for me in a lot of circumstances. There will be other factors too, but I want to talk on this specific point for just a little bit. When I look at, before I got into self-development, before I got into fitness, before I decided to make content creation and starting a podcast like a thing for me, the reason why I held off on this and why I procrastinated was not because I didn't have the equipment, or I didn't have the resources, or I didn't have the time. In fact, I probably even had more time before, when I could have started it. It was this sense of like, if I had done something a little bit outside my comfort zone, outside of school or outside of work, and something that wasn't required of me in that sense, and it hadn't exactly gone to plan. So for example, when just before 20 the pandemic started in 2020, I'd kind of been looking into business ideas, because I was just like, let me experiment with them, see if I can create like some sort of side income. And I got into drop shipping. I think that's it's a kind of like a critical tenet of anyone who gets successful in any kind of area. They start with drop shipping for some reason, and I did that for a little bit. I mean, it for like a solid month or two, I was seeing some kind of results. But then it slowly died off. I was just like, these ad costs are just like killing me. It's just like too much. And it's just like kind of died down. And I was just like, okay, like I thought that, based on what everyone had been telling me on YouTube, I was like, oh, this is like amazing. You can create this passive source of income, and you can just sell stuff which you somewhat believe in. You can, market it and all this kind of stuff. I was learning so much. I learned so much from that experience. I mean, I'm not going to deny that there wasn't, that there wasn't like a huge aspect of learning that came from that. But the fact that I still failed, that still like put a sense of not hopelessness, but just like, okay, like, why did I fail? Like, I thought this was supposed to work. I thought this was my one-way ticket to being successful, or like having an extra source of income or whatever to provide for my family. So after that, it was just like this like long stretch of like me going between different ideas, starting my blog, and then I didn't really have any idea to monetize it. It was just like, let me just put some ideas out as a way of just, because I was stuck at home for a long time, I was just like, let me just express myself in some way. So I didn't really monetize that. But I think it's a good thing, because my expression kind of was, it gave the momentum for me to start this podcast, because it was just like, with a video podcast, or if you're listening to this on Spotify or whatever, like, more people can come to this. And most people don't read, or we just read like short sweet tweets or whatever. So this will be a better way for me to express my ideas. But the point I'm trying to make is that a lot of times small failures, or even big failures, they get in our way, and they take up so much mental space in our head. And that's not how you're supposed to be thinking about anything that you do in your life. Like, you can't, like, the person you were just like yesterday, that person died. You need to kind of like think about it like that. That person who you were yesterday has just died. And you can't be like, you're like, without getting into like, not being like spiritual, but you are a new person today. Like, the choices you make today are not dependent on the person you were yesterday. I mean, sure, you'll have the consequences of things that you did, good or bad, affecting you today. But you need to understand that every moment that you have in your life, like, you could decide after this video, or even like during this video, as I'm saying this, that I want to make a change in my life. The past has no bearings in terms of what I can believe I can do. I mean, sure, like, there'll be maybe some obstacles that come your way in terms of like actually practically doing something. but your mindset, you're like, okay, like that person I was yesterday is no longer, they don't have any bearing on my life now. If I believe I want to do something, then I can do it. Like the past does not have to define me. I mean, it's like a lot of what I'm saying is probably like this, this wishy-washy stuff you see on social media, or like these motivational posts or whatever. But a lot of what I'm saying is actually true in the sense that you have to believe you can do this. I honestly don't know like how else to tell you guys. It's just like once you know that. Oh well, let me put it like this. You have an idea. What you need to do first, honestly, is like define what your goals are. You need to, and what you need to do is frame them in a way that, in terms of like a daily habit or like a weekly habit. So, bear with me. I'm just going to try and explain this as best as I can. So, when I started this podcast, and specifically when I was like, okay, I'm going to put this on YouTube as well. My first instinct was to be like, okay, in 3 months or 6 months, I want to have X amount of subscribers. But then I realized, like, I don't have any control over that. I can't control how many subscribers I have at that point. I can influence how many subscribers I'll have at that point, but I can't control that. It could be less than that. It could be exactly that. It could be more than that. I have no bearing. Like, what I do is that aspect of this endeavor is totally out of my control. What I can do, though, is commit to a certain number of video recordings or audio recordings per week. That I can control. And when I made this plan to start this podcast, I was like, by the end of March, I want to have 12 episodes up. I don't care what the quality is. I don't care if some of them they don't have the video aspect because I was still figuring out the camera situation. I just want to have 12 episodes up on the internet in one way or another. And alhamdulillah, by the grace of God, this is the 12th episode that you're listening to. So like, it just goes to show that if you make a plan and your goals are about something that you can tangibly control, then that's the first starting point. Because it's something in your control, you can actually believe that you can do it. It sounds so simple, but it's really just the way you need to think about these kind of things. Let me give you another example. Say your goal is to up your bench press from, if you're like a beginner, maybe from 95 pounds to 135 pounds. Okay, that's what, my math is totally getting me off here. Like what, 40 pounds, right? 35, yeah, 40 pounds. So you look at that, okay, like in the next, what do you want to say, like 4 weeks, 6 weeks, I want to go up in 40 pounds on my bench press. And you believe you can do that because there's a path, a trajectory to that goal. So those are the kind of goals you want to set at the very beginning because those are the ones that you have the most control over. Now, as you progress more and you stack up small wins, you can then start to venture out a little bit. You can be like, okay, realistically, within the next 6 months, I want to have, say, like 500 downloads on my podcast. You can't really control that too much, but at that point, you have a certain level of experience and you've gathered some amount of confidence. Not confidence, it's like some amount of just skills, and you have a level of confidence. You're like, okay, within a certain number of months, I can get to this goal realistically. That's a level 2 kind of goal, if you understand what I mean, because it's building off of the current wins that you have. Like, it's so important to have wins in your life, big or small. I mean, obviously small if you're starting out, and just to get that confidence going and to really improve your mindset. Now, what I'm saying is coming from a really practical kind of view. Like, you need to practically do something in your life to build that confidence and then go on to do bigger goals. That's in my experience and in my opinion, like that's the best way to build that kind of confidence. Obviously, reading books and listening to motivational speakers and people who like really inspire you, that's like a huge component as well. But I'm talking more like practically, what do you do to really actually see progress in your life and believe that you can make some change in your life? Now, the last point I want to leave you guys, because I do have to head out soon, is that a lot of times what happens with us is that we look for the acknowledgement or the praise or the seeking permission from someone to tell us that, hey, you can do this, or like you are now allowed to do this. Like, and I think it comes from our experience being in school or being in work where we're judged on performance. And unless it's like a mental thing, unless we believe that we can, based on our current level of experience, we can get to the next goal, we don't think we can because we're looking for that external validation. And a lot of people are um, oh, this is, this is not how you should think. You should be like totally self reliant and all this kind of stuff. And there is a certain truth to that, but oh, if we want to make this as practical and useful, like there's no harm in seeking that kind of out or getting that from someone, and then the end result of that being that you are now on a path to a better future. So I want to leave you with this, guys. I'm in no position to tell you that, hey, I'm not the living example of like success or whatever. Like I know I've made some steps, some baby steps in my life, and I've gotten to a certain point, and I'm just starting. Like this is point one of like 0.1% of like my journey to whatever I intend to do. But I realize I'm like at least one step ahead of you guys. So I want to tell you, like I want to be as frank with you. You have permission from me if you're looking for it from someone and you don't care who it is. You have permission from me to achieve your goals. I'm telling you that you have my permission, if you're looking for it, to be successful in whatever you choose to do. You have that, and you once you have it now, you have no excuse to not do it. Because I'm telling you, as someone who is like someone on this journey, that you can do it. Because I've taken that first step. So I know, so guys, I'm gonna wrap it up right there because I know this was and this was like a shorter episode, and I do kind of have to go. So I do apologize for that. If you're looking for something more fleshed out and more in depth, I do intend to do more of those, more of this kind of stuff in the next week or so, because this is like, you can think of this as like a preview, like a trailer of a more detailed discussion on having a positive mindset and believing in yourself. But I still hope that you found this useful and it was somewhat actionable, and you can start to believe that you can make some change. And honestly, guys, today's Friday, at least when I'm recording this. Over the weekend, make some change in your life. Do something about it. And I've already given you permission to do it. So like, I don't see why you can't take that first step. All right, guys. So I'm gonna leave it right there. Thank you so much for tuning in to episode 12 of the Manly Mission podcast. To all my Muslim friends, Ramadan is going to be starting either tonight or tomorrow, depending on where you are. So I do want to wish everyone Ramadan Mubarak, Ramadan Kareem. May Allah accept it from us and make it a blessed month for all of us, for our families, and for our communities. And yeah, guys, next time you'll see me, I'll be fasting. So if my voice is a little dampened, I'm just like a little out of energy, you understand why. But thank you so much for tuning in. Do make sure you subscribe, like, and share all that good stuff for this video. If you're listening to this on podcasts, thank you so much for your support. Leave your honest rating. And until next time, guys, take care. I'll see you soon.